going to our next storyteller, Dre Falarano.
Pivotal moments in our lives where you wake up one morning feeling one way and you go to bed feeling completely different about the world. One of those moments for me was when my cousin Frank died. I was 17 and he was a couple years older than me, and he was so cool. He was one of those enigmatic human beings that you meet and just makes you feel like seen and heard. And when he died, it wasn't just me who was upset. The whole town went into mourning. I remember going to his wake and staying in line for over an hour before I just gave up. There was this strange sort of feeling of loneliness in that I felt like my side of the mourning was not being seen. And I went home and I got there, and I have like this huge family. I have 52 first cousins and 20 aunts and uncles, and they're all there, and they're just sort of strangely celebrating. They're telling stories and eating and drinking. And I look at my boyfriend, and I have this high fidelity moment. And I just say, I just need to feel something. Which is how I convinced my Mormon high school boyfriend to have sex with me at the back of my lawn during, like, the funeral. I'm pretty sure it was the same experience everyone has had with their virginity. It lasted about 10 minutes. It was 3 minutes of the worst pain I've ever felt in my life, followed by 7 minutes of prayer. He knew a lot more prayers than I did. I mostly knew the Our Father, which I repeated desperately over and over again just to appease his guilt. He made sure that we did not see each other naked. That was part of the deal. So then we got robed again. We went back to the party, so to speak, and I went to bed. And then in the middle of the night, my dad wakes me up, and real quiet, he says, "Get up, get dressed, and come downstairs and get in the truck." So I am mortified, because the last time my dad thought I'd lost my virginity, he threw a chair, and then he got in his car and he drove away and he slept at the lumber store, which I'm pretty sure is a safe space for all dads. So I was like, great, he's just gonna live at the lumber store now that he knows I'm not a virgin. So I get up, I get dressed, I get in the car, and we start driving, and it's just a few blocks before we get to Dagan's. You're not from my hometown, I don't think, but Dagan's is not the lumber store. It's the funeral home, and that's where Frank is. And my dad just knows. And we get there, and Jim Dagan is at the door, and he went to high school with my dad, and there must have been some conversation I don't know about, but he lets us in. And it's the middle of the night, and it's all lit by candlelight. My dad reaches out my hand, and we go and we say goodbye to Frank. And it is the first time I see my construction worker dad cry. And we go home, and he puts me to bed like I'm 5 years old and kisses me goodnight. And I wake up in the morning, and I just feel relieved that that whole day is behind me. I just never want to deal with any of this. I want to go to the burial and have it all behind me. And I get this phone call from my Mormon boyfriend. And he says, "I don't want you to freak out, but I lost the condom somewhere in your parents' house." So I wake up later than everybody else. I've been asleep way longer than anybody else because I'm a teenager, and I am frantically searching the house for a used condom. And I'm trying to be real discreet. I'm just like leaning on the cushions and trying to check, and I'm finding nothing. So I decided in a last-ditch effort to do a perimeter search of the house, and thank God there it is at the end of my driveway. So I go inside, I get a grocery bag, I go outside and I scoop it up and I throw it away, and it is over. I go to the burial, no one is the wiser, the whole day is gone. So then my mom gets home from work later in the afternoon and she says, "Hey, can I just talk to you for a minute?" And I'm just so glad that someone sees me and knows that I am hurting. And I'm like, "Yes, let's talk." And so she sits me down and she goes, "So I was at work today, And I get this call from our 70-year-old neighbor, Susan. And she says she woke up and she found a used condom at the end of our driveway. So she calls Ann, our other 70-something-year-old neighbor. And she comes and takes a look at it, sure enough, it's a used condom. So then my dad gets up and he comes and takes a look. My uncles, my aunts, my cousin, they're all going out to breakfast, there it is. And she said, but then the strangest thing happened. 10 o'clock in the morning, she's doing dishes in her kitchen, it overlooks our driveway, and she sees you come out and take it. What's that about? So I look at her straight face and I say, like, there's a funeral going on and the whole neighborhood is just out taking a gander at a used condom? That is disgusting. If she recalled correctly, I went out there with a bag on my hand and scooped it up like it was dog poop. I cannot believe we're all just hanging out taking a look at this. And she looks at me and she says, all right, that's it. You don't have anything else to say? And I said, no. And we sit there for like a moment of silence. And I think I'm being cool, but I know that I'm like pulling at my face and my hair desperately, trying to keep it together. And I look at her and I'm like, I lost my virginity. And she says, oh yeah, I know. Everybody knows. Your whole family, the entire neighborhood, everybody knows. And then all cheerful, like she goes, how was it? And I tell her, it was 3 minutes of the worst pain of my life, followed by 7 minutes of prayer. And she says, oh, don't worry, it'll get better. Thank you.